Fairy Tail's final episode is right around the corner, but what if I told you that this actually wasn't the final episode of the Fairy Tail series? Yes, you guys heard me. What if I told you episode 51 wasn't going to be the final episode in the Fairy Tail series? But before I get into that, I just gotta say, make sure you guys go ahead and subscribe to my Boku no Hero channel called Underrated Hero. A link to that will be in the description down below. I am going to be uploading all Boku no Hero content over on that channel. A lot of people, they asked me to upload videos about Boku no Hero. Trust me, My Hero Academia, this is one of my favorite ongoing shonens right now, so I had to make a video discussing it and talking about all that greatness. So if you are a My Hero Academia fan, I recommend you go ahead and check it out, Underrated Hero, because I'm telling you guys, a lot of good content is going to be dropping over there. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into the video discussing the final episode of Fairy Tail. Now, as you guys heard me, the final episode of Fairy Tail, it is coming upon us because we know that Fairy Tail is going to be over at 51 episodes. Yes, 51 episodes and Fairy Tail anime is going to be done. Right now we are on episode 45, waiting for episode 46. So with that being said, we know that the Fairy Tail anime, its days are numbered, but the final season, I'm not gonna lie with you guys, it's looking great. Like, the ending is looking great in the anime. I'm starting to like it a lot more than I did in the manga per se. For example, we're seeing Natsu versus Zeref. This fight, anime only, is all I'm gonna say is you guys see now why Zeref is one of my favorite anime characters. He becomes so overpowered, so strong, and the fight's not even done yet. So I definitely gotta say, Natsu versus Zeref, Natsu E and D, Dragon form versus Zeref God form. This is one of the greatest fights in Fairy Tail, and it has a huge plot twist at the end, but we still haven't even seen Actilogia shine. Now, I don't want to spoil it for any anime onlys, but all I'm going to say is that his fight with Jalal, that is not the final thing. Just know that it is not the final thing, and there is still a final battle to go with all of this going on. So that just goes to show you that the Fairy Tail final season, while it is coming to an end, it is having a great ending in my opinion. I think that this is one of the best handled Fairy Tail animes that we've gotten. And I also have to say that even though the final season of Fairy Tail is coming to an end, is this the actual final episode of Fairy Tail? Because there's two different things. This might be the last episode of the season, but what if I told you that this wasn't going to be the final Fairy Tail episode? Yes, you guys heard me right, because Fairy Tail, it's had its final episodes. I'm using air quotes, which you guys can't see them, but it's had its final episodes 2 times already. Whereas we know the first Fairy Tail anime, it ended after 175 episodes, but we saw it ended with a major plot twist. The future Lucy, she met with Jalal, and it literally ended with the to be continued sign, and that just led to show us that they were going to make a new Fairy Tail anime. Fast forward to Fairy Tail 2014, we know that it had 102 episodes, and ironically it ended with Fairy Tail coming together. Obviously we saw Natsu and Lucy, they finally got back and they started their new journey, and we saw that this was a direct beginning for a new series, for the new Fairy Tail anime. We see that after the 2014 anime, we could just tell that we are going to get more Fairy Tail content. It literally ended with them going on a journey, and this series, we saw that it ended significantly quicker than the other ones, because obviously this one's 51 episodes, and the last one, it ended at 102, and the one before that was 175. So now that we see that this one's ending quickly, leads me to believe that this could be huge news for the second part or the second half of the Fairy Tail anime that will be coming out. And I also gotta say is, be on the lookout how they end the Fairy Tail series, because yo, like I said, they ended the first Fairy Tail anime with the plot twist of future Lucy coming back, and they said that was the final episode, and then they went ahead and ended the 2014 anime with them going on a new journey. So all I'm gonna say is that the way how they end the Fairy Tail 100-year quest, or the Fairy Tail anime, which I believe will lead into the 100-year quest, is going to be huge news. So definitely, since the length of this series has been cut short, makes me believe that they have been saving and been working for a new Fairy Tail anime after this. Because if you guys didn't know, they actually did finish the production for this anime early. Yes, they actually did finish the production for this anime early. They finished way back in June, so this could actually give them time to work on a Fairy Tail series after this, especially since it's only 51 episodes. Makes me believe that that this is actually a plan for them to continue the Fairy Tail series. And I believe that this will not be the final Fairy Tail episode. Yes, Fairy Tail episode 51 will not be the final Fairy Tail episode because we saw even the manga, it ended on a cliffhanger. If you're a manga reader, you know exactly what I meant. If you guys are an underrated Mage supporter, you guys would know that when I did my reaction to the final chapter, even I said that it didn't feel like a complete ending. Like, it just felt like they left the door wide open, which we obviously know that they did because the Fairy Tail 100-year quest came after the final chapter, and now we know that the Fairy Tail 100-year quest, it is still ongoing. A lot of people, including the voice actors for Natsu and Lucy, they want to see Fairy Tail 100-year quest animated, and while it hasn't been confirmed, the Fairy Tail 100-year quest anime, it is basically 99% confirmed, because if we saw this happen with Fairy Tail 2 more times in the past, literally episode 175 came, they ended it, and people were saying, oh, it's over, while they still had more content. Same thing happened with the 2014 anime. The 2014 anime, that was the one where people actually thought Fairy Tail was done, but if you guys were supporters of Fairy Tail, you knew that there was another series coming afterwards. So that's why I'm saying all that to say this, whereas since the final episode for this Fairy Tail season, which I'm not going to spoil for the anime only, since it does end on such a cliffhanger, that should be proof enough that that will not be the final episode of Fairy Tail. And like I said, the final episode of this series, it will set up for Fairy Tail 100-year quest, because the 100-year quest, you guys have to understand, this is something that's been hyped up, foreshadowed ever since the beginning of the series. And the fact that Hiro Mashima finally did show us what the 100-year quest is like, man, oh man, he did not disappoint. Like, you actually have to admit that the Fairy Tail 100-year quest, it does live up to the hype. Like, I know Fairy Tail has a lot of negative things that people like to say about it, but the 100-year quest, it is 100% worthy of being called a 100-year quest. Manga readers, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And I believe that the final episode of this Fairy Tail series, it will actually be amazing. Yes, I do think it will be one of the best Fairy Tail anime episodes, period, because we know that the ending for this series, it will confirm a lot of pairings. A lot of people, they were wondering what happened with characters like Laxus, Mira, all these other ones, and we also know that the final episode of Fairy Tail, it will basically confirm all of it, as well as it does reveal a lot of new characters. Yes, this is what I mean. The Fairy Tail final episode, it's going to reveal a lot of new characters. In the anime only, you guys will be like, oh my gosh. And it even sets up the story for more arcs later on. Yes, because we found out Zeref and Mavis. All I'm going to say is Arlios and Mios. If you're if you're a manga reader of Fairy Tail, you know who those characters are, and you know how their reincarnation is going to play a huge key in the new Fairy Tail anime. And we also see prominent characters like Anna, they return. So like Fairy Tail, the final episode, I'm trying to let you guys know in advance that be on the lookout, because Hiro Mashima, I forgot who really does the anime studio because they keep switching it around, but whoever does animate the studio, we know that they basically like throwing in hints at the end of Fairy Tail at the final episode to lead us into the 100-year quest or whatever new Fairy Tail anime is going to be. And I believe that the final episode of Fairy Tail anime will be the 100-year quest. Yes, I believe it's going to have to do something with the 100-year quest until Fairy Tail Next Generation gets confirmed. Now, we are in a very sticky spot when it comes to Fairy Tail Next Generation. We know that there's a huge chance, there's a 100% chance of it happening, but it just hasn't been confirmed yet. And until Fairy Tail Next Generation gets an official manga, then I will feel 100% confident in saying that we'll get an anime. Right now, if you had to ask me right now, I would probably say I'm 80% sure Fairy Tail Next Generation gets an anime, but up until Fairy Tail Next Generation gets its own manga, I believe that the final episode of Fairy Tail will be the 100-year quest, because we're seeing right now the 100-year quest, it is panning out to be the biggest arc in Fairy Tail, and I believe that they're taking this break just so that they could come back with a lot of good new animation, similarly to how they did with this season of Fairy Tail. We know that the 2014 one, it wasn't necessarily the greatest Fairy Tail season, and it got cut off shortly just so that they could come back with the final season and actually have good animation and all that stuff. I think that's what they're doing with the Fairy Tail 100-year quest anime. They're just going to wait a a little bit, let the chapters build up, because we're still only on chapter 32, which we're waiting to be released to us. So yeah, we got a lot of time to wait until there's a new season of Fairy Tail. But I'm saying that to say this, episode 51, if you are in Fairy Tail anime only, you can rejoice, because that will not be the final episode of Fairy Tail. Yes, it will not be the final episode of Fairy Tail. In fact, you'll probably only have to wait, I want to say maybe a year before the new Fairy Tail anime comes out, but that's a whole nother topic for a whole nother time. But overall, that's basically it for this little video discussing the final Fairy Tail episode and why you guys need to be excited for the final Fairy Tail episode, because even though it will be meaning a break for Fairy Tail, there's going to be a lot of cliffhangers and a lot of things that you can dissect from the final episode. And to be honest, I can't wait to finally see Fairy Tail be finished anime, because I'm obviously going to rewatch the series once it's honest. So once Fairy Tail is all done, I'm definitely can't wait to rewatch it and see that full story in greatness. Comment what you guys think down below. Subscribe if you haven't. Peace out.